Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Little Give. I'm super excited for our guest today. I can't wait to peel back the layers of her and her story. Go ahead, tell the audience your name, where you're from, and what you're all about.
Hi, my name's Ramona. I live in Alberta, Canada. I have a husband and two boys, and I'm all about helping women to revitalize and fall in love with themselves again after big life transitions, trauma, or divorce.
Wow, that's a lot. Tell us a bit about how you ended up in this field of work.
Well, it was like a zig and a zag all over the place, to be honest. It's like, in life you take those little steps and then the next one unfolds. It was like that. So I started way off following in natural health and wellness in my mom's footsteps. She developed a successful business in herbal wellness. And then I started to kind of evolve and grow and realize that I needed to take a little different path. So over a number of years, I added in fitness. And then I started to witness more about the emotional aspect. So when I was opening my fitness studio that you see behind me, that was a huge, massive, enormous step out of my comfort zone. And so I had a life coach and business coach to help me. And it just kind of tweaked in my mind, life coaching. Oh, what's that? So when the time was right, some new opportunities opened up through people I know. And I'll even touch later about people that got me into personal empowerment coaching and then gentle trauma release practitioner. So it's just like this gentle unfolding of the vision and how I can use my skills in a way that really excites me, but also serves the people I support in the most empowering way.
Isn't that so interesting how things just kind of appear in your life? Like you kind of have an idea, you want to go in one direction, and next thing you know, it kind of shifts, and then people come into your life and all of it kind of evolves into something totally different than what you thought, but maybe something that's even better than what you thought. Have you experienced that a lot in your life?
So much, like I couldn't even imagine. Like it just key people I've met at key junctures in my life. And sometimes it's like, well, this isn't the direction I wanted to go, or I'm scared, or I can't afford it, or whatever. I've listened to my gut and taken a little leap of faith, and then something else opened up. And this has happened so many times in my life. It just reaffirms the need to just listen to your intuition and the nudges that push you in a direction that you maybe didn't think in your head was the perfect plan.
Absolutely. You mentioned a minute ago that you actually had a coach yourself. A lot of people think that's, like, oh, I don't need a coach. I can go at it alone. What made you think and believe that a coach could help you?
Well, I was at a place where I had my fitness certifications, but I was kind of lost and I didn't really have a mentor. And I knew I wanted to coach online and I wanted to grow. At the time, I was still working part-time at my job. I was a payroll administrator at the time, actually. And again, I met this woman through a mutual friend because she was selling some fitness equipment. And I met her and find out what she did. And I'm like, oh, So I took that leap of faith and worked with her because she absolutely supported me through that first phase of growth that was absolutely terrifying. It was the combination of the support and the strategy. I needed both.
Yeah, that's amazing that you took that leap of faith, because a lot of people, they are afraid to do that. Like, well, what could you teach me? Or what if you don't teach me? And I need help because I want to grow, which means I probably am trying to build my finances at the same time, and giving up a piece of your money to try to get better can be a little scary. Was there a time whenever you were a little bit nervous about that transaction?
Oh, completely. First, there was investing in coaching, which in the grand scheme of coaching, the money I invested with her was pretty minimal, but for me, it was a big deal. But when I went to open my first actual small group of fitness training, where I was really, really putting myself out there with my work, my nervous system was freaking out. So the night before, I was obsessing about the music playlist. I was crying and sobbing, and my poor husband's in the chair, and he's like, I don't know what to do, right? It's just, I was pushing out of my comfort zone in such a massive way. And she was able to support me, and she understood and helped me to hold steady and take those steps.
Yeah, I like how you just peel back so many things that give me so many questions. And then also I can relate. So when you talk about, way out of your comfort zone and kind of just doing it afraid, I've done a lot of that in my life as well. It takes a lot of courage to do that. What do you think it is about your personality that made you be willing to kind of get out of your comfort zone and do those things?
Well, I think I've always had a little bit of an entrepreneurial streak, like just it's hard for me to just follow the status quo. And then when I was younger, starting from teenage years, seeing my mom emerge as an entrepreneur, that just kind of set in my mind, I want that. And it didn't become clear to me exactly what steps to take and when. Um, but I think above all else, I have tenacity. Like I just don't give up, right? Right. I just don't give up. I just keep going until I find a way. And that's, I think the biggest thing for me is just, I just didn't give up.
Yeah, there's always a way. And I love the saying that says there's no win or lose. It's either win or learn. And I've done a lot of learning in my days, and I bet you have too.
Yes, and I wouldn't say it's easy. It's not all rose petals and rainbows. It's brutally hard. And entrepreneurship is not for everyone. And there's a time and a place, right? And you absolutely, you need support. You cannot do this alone, whether it's business mentoring, and mental and emotional support, family support, other entrepreneurs. You absolutely need to build a village of supporters to move through this.
I agree. You got to have the people who are there right beside you. And they kind of seem to show up in your life at the right times, don't they? I love the book called Who, Not How, because it's not all about, how can I do it? How can I do it? It's about who can help me, because you don't have to know everything to be successful. But if you can get the right people around you who do know, then it makes your journey a lot faster and smoother. And it seems like you found the right people at the right times in your life.
I did. Like, I would not be where I am doing what I am doing and showing up as I am without key people I had met at pivotal points in my life.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with asking for help, right?
No, it's sometimes accepting, receiving, offering an invitation or an opportunity that's extended, and allowing yourself to receive. Because that's, I think, sometimes women struggle with being able to receive. And I think that's softening enough to receive is super valuable.
Super valuable for sure. So tell us a bit more about your coaching. So you decide to do coaching. Tell us about your structure of your coaching and what you love about it the most.
So I'm a bit of a unicorn. So I'm not a one size fits all cookie cutter. This is everything I do and everyone's the same. It's not that way. So some people might connect with me for wanting to amp up their self-care and clean up their relationship with food or get strong and feel confident. But I witness over and over and over again the common struggles that kind of stand in the way, sabotage us, so to speak, are usually deep rooted and unconscious with our nervous system, emotions, and identity. So this is where I lean quite heavily on my skills with the gentle trauma release method, which is, to me, an absolute game changer. It changes literally everything because you can clear the way to move forward. You can clear the way to stop fighting with yourself and actually like yourself again. So to me, that was a huge game changer.
That is a huge game changer. Tell us a bit more about that, to like yourself again. I love the way you said all of that. Give us a little bit more
Yeah.
detail.
Well, it sounds real nice and fluffy to say, oh, I like myself. I love myself. Do you? Do your actions show that? That's what I would ask, right? So even if you're a high performing person, do you show that care and attention and priority to your mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual needs? Actions speak louder than words, right? So I went through this myself. So it was kind of a wild ride from like 2019 till 2021. I started my personal empowerment coach training, which was amazing and just opened my eyes to the emotional levels and embodying more feminine aspects rather than rejecting them. And that's where I met my professor with the Gentle Trauma Release Institute. And I started the training during COVID, right? So my business was shut down on and off. And I just kind of devoured the training and just got my hands right in it, and became the first graduate in Canada. So the combination of those two certifications and just my own strengths, my own personal strengths and abilities and preferences, I guess, for how I work with people, just allows me to hold space with curiosity and really get people, especially women, to a better place in far less time without trying so hard, even if they've been, quote, working on it for a long time. So that to me is like boom, bing, bang, pow. Love it.
Hi, my name is Justin Clark, and I'm the president of the board of directors for Driving Single Parents, a 501c3 nonprofit serving the citizens of San Antonio and Bexar County, Texas. I'm here today to tell you a little bit about the great work that our organization is doing for the citizens of San Antonio. What you're about to see is just a few photos and videos of the way that we're changing lives for single parents in and around San Antonio, Texas. Our first giveaway took place in April of 2017, just one short month after the formation of our organization. John, a Bexar County resident, was the victim of a horrible drunk driver incident. He and his daughter survived the crash, and we were so proud to give our first car to this deserving family. Fast forward to 2020, a very difficult year for nonprofits. We were able to secure 4 vehicles for single parents in need. Our organization, including our board of directors, list of partners, and portfolio of people we've been able to help in San Antonio, continues to grow, and it's all thanks to donors and local community organizations that have helped us along the way. This giveaway took place in 2021 and shows that we continue to help single parents even after the struggles brought about by COVID-19. Because of limited funds and the overwhelming need, we at Driving Single Parents are incredibly selective with the people we help. Some are victims of domestic violence. Others had a spouse pass away tragically, or otherwise fell on hard times. These single parents show adversity in the face of challenge and aren't looking for a handout. We offer a hand up and help get them back in the driver's seat. Many of the single parents we help go on to graduate college, get promotions, get married, mentor others, and some have even been so touched by the gift we gave them that they have decided to join our board of directors to pay it forward and ensure the continued growth of our organization. If you would like to help our organization continue to grow and continue to help single parents in need in San Antonio, Texas, and Bexar County, Texas, we would really appreciate your support. Please visit us online at www.drivingsingleparents.org. Thank you.
Yes, love it as well. I bet you anything, there's somebody out there watching this going, I would love all of that, but it seems like maybe impossible to somebody who's listening. Can you share with them that you've done this before and that it is possible for them to feel all the things that you just mentioned?
Yeah. So, for example, a recent client, she did a video testimonial with me, so she's allowed me to share. So she's an entrepreneur at the beginning stages, but also struggled with some of the things that women struggle with. Guilt, being able to take care of her body, emotional eating, sabotage, I put that in brackets, sabotage, so disconnect from her body and beating herself up, right? So in just a number of weeks, so maybe 5 weeks, 3 calls, she did a complete 180. So she started to naturally take care of her body better. She started to naturally start going to her gym again. That was her preference, go to her gym. She started naturally nourishing herself better and quit beating herself up. And this wasn't me plugging the mindset work into her. No, what we did is we addressed the underlying trauma that's anchoring these behaviors and beliefs in place. We addressed the trauma underneath in 3 calls, and she did a complete 180 and noticed drastic changes, even so much that her friend said, "You're different. Something's changed. You seem different. You're glowing. You look like you've lost some weight, and you just seem so much happier and grounded." And that is absolutely possible. And it's happened many, many times.
Wow, it's incredible. That's a wonderful testimonial. And to have somebody who tells you those things and how much you impacted them, I am sure that had to feel really special to you, knowing that your work is really making this huge impact.
Yes, it just gives me a really grounded confidence. So, if someone's a good fit to work with me, and not everybody is, right? Someone who's a good fit to work with me, I'm going to be able to help them to move forward and get to a better place without it being such a struggle.
Yeah. Do you find that some of the people you help with trauma, that they don't realize the trauma is still affecting them to this day? They already feel like it's been dealt with? Or tell us a bit about that. I know that when it comes to trauma, it can pop up at different times of your life, whether, it's something you think about every day, or maybe you don't think about it at all until something triggers you. Can you give me a little insight onto that?
Yeah, it's really helpful for me, even just in how I speak to people about what I do, because there's only a small fraction of us that actually are aware that trauma is affecting us and seeking solutions. So either we've worked on it and done our best and don't want to go there again, or we're unaware that trauma is affecting us because we think of someone else who probably had it worse than us. So even for me, I was unaware that the experiences I had and the emotional challenges I was having and the business challenges I was having were trauma-based. I didn't know. How would I know, right? So for me to show up this way, I had to do my own trauma work with a coach, not myself, right? But here's what's interesting. Trauma, if you just look at it in a simple way and take away all the labels and the stigma that maybe is attached to it, or that it needs to be this thing, it's simply a nervous system response to a perceived threat that has an element of feeling inescapable. So it can be a long-term repeated slow drip. In the case of, maybe you had to perform and please to be good enough. Or it can be the more catastrophic events that we might think of. You can carry a certain amount of that in your body and be doing okay, functioning okay. Okay, it's maybe not your very best, but you're doing okay. But then something comes along that tips the scales, and if you think of your well of resilience is gone to the top and then it's overflowing. And then you get this cascade of symptoms that come seemingly out of nowhere, emotional, cognitive, or physical symptoms that came seemingly out of nowhere or got significantly worse. And that's a very good place where I like to look with the client and go, what was going on leading up to that? And that's where we usually find the trauma.
Hi, my name is Andrew Fraley, and I believe that sometimes we all need a little bit of help. If you're in the San Antonio community and you need some legal help, call me at 210-725-4658.
So interesting. I have no doubt that there's, audience members out there who are saying, wait, that's me. I need help there. What would you recommend they do right away? Obviously, reach out to you and see how you can help them. Is there something that they can do on their own to kind of see if they really need the extended help?
I find if it even crosses your mind, you probably could use the help, because most of us underestimate the opportunity for healing that we have. We tend to push things down and do our best to get by. And even if I'm not the person, right? So I do have a free tool that you can use. It's on my website, gentletraumacoach.com. And it's called a gentle trauma assessment, where you can look at for yourself and explore the symptoms that are often attached to trauma. And when you look at the symptoms, you're like, oh, well, I didn't think I had trauma, but I have like all these symptoms, or these particular ones are really bothersome and they came out of nowhere. That's a great first step. And I always invite people to connect with me, maybe listen to some of my videos, have a conversation, because if I'm going to talk to someone who thinks that they may be supported by gentle trauma release, it's not a salesy situation. Like, you feel kind of vulnerable, and it's not that easy to take. It takes some courage to actually take that tangible step. And I get it. Like, it's hard to even be vulnerable in that situation. But what's interesting is quite often I'll connect for what's like a gentle exploration call. Nothing's happening here other than seeing how I can help. And a person will immediately start crying and cry the whole time. Immediate, because it's such a release to finally be able to stop pretending and just be open and real. And the idea is safety is the foundation of healing. So anytime you're creating emotional, mental, physical safety, you're taking a step towards healing.
Wow, everything you just said right there was just so inspiring. I love the fact that you said it's not some salesy situation, because I do believe that people get a little nervous about, reaching out to a coach or reaching out to somebody who might help them with their trauma. And I know, like you said a moment ago, like we as women, we're the ones who help everybody else. We don't usually, feel comfortable getting the help. And so I love that you say, like, you're here to listen, and that people can come to you, and it's a safe space, and it's okay to ask for that help, and it's okay to lean on someone else. And in fact, all those things that you're going through or growing through in that moment can be healed, and you can come out on the other side a better version of yourself. I really love everything that you work on. How do you feel that you've been able to make such a huge impact in this world?
Well, sometimes it's kind of surreal. It's like, oh, I'm just going around doing my thing, right? But I think one of my core values with my work is that I do want my work, whatever it is, whether it's healing your relationship with your body, healing your relationship with food, healing your relationship with yourself, I want my work to have an impact long term. I want your life to have been better and you be better for us having worked together, whether it's for 6 weeks, 6 months, or 6 years. I want you to be better because of our work together. So that's like a real anchor for me of what work is meaningful to me and what is not.
Beautiful. You spoke earlier about your relationship with food, not your relationship with food, but people's relationship with food. Talk a bit about that and how you feel like that might be holding some people back.
Well, understanding that what was interesting that I did not expect is when I started working with women with the gentle trauma release method, they naturally started having a better relationship with their body, and they lost weight. Not that weight loss is the ultimate thing, but a lot of these women, it was a desire that they had and a struggle that they'd had. So we'll acknowledge that this is a desire. This was a struggle for them. And they just naturally found their rhythm, and they naturally found their healthy weight when we didn't even work on that together, right? So we just healed their relationship with their body and their ability to cope with life. So that was really interesting. But what is also interesting is even when we've cleared enough of the traumatic events or memories or emotions, it doesn't take that long, it doesn't take forever. There's a residue left behind of the person you had to become or the behaviors you developed to survive. And sometimes there's a little bit of nurturing and growth to work through that. So that's why I got a separate certification to help people heal their relationship with food, because things like diet culture and body image issues are really magnified. It's like gas on the fire when there's trauma present. So I can take those skills and help people to learn how to live in their body, move towards their health, fitness, physique, strength, whatever, without this super triggering diet mentality that takes over their entire brain.
Wow. I love how your whole approach is just all the pieces that are needed that kind of flow and work together. And I like how you said it, that, hey, when you heal your trauma and you heal what you're, experiencing, that all the other good comes with it. And I think it's just amazing, the work that you're doing. I love it so much. And, sad to say, but there's so much trauma out there. And I'm a domestic violence survivor, and I can't tell you how many times I've said to someone, I'm a domestic violence survivor, and they said, so am I. So I've been through that. I've been through that. I've been through that. And it happens so often that people will share their trauma. And so I just know how necessary this work is. And I know you do as well. And I'm sure that there's somebody in the audience who's saying, I really need some help. So I'm just so grateful you came on and shared all of this with us today.
Yeah, I'm always glad to just shed a new light on it and remove the stigma, remove the heaviness, remove the judgment, and just go, oh, maybe there's a different way, a better way, a more deep-rooted way to move toward what I desire, how I want to exist in this world. And it's not by just hammering away on it and pushing yourself.
I love that. There's always a way, that is for sure. Can you give the the audience an example of a little thing that they can do in their community that might just be a little give on their end, but might make a big impact on the other side?
Well, here's where I thought about a specific example is listen to those little inner nudges that allow you to use either who you know or what you know to help someone else. You just never know. And sometimes you might brush it off and go, psh, bad, say that. But here's the thing. When I listen to those inner nudges in a couple different specific situations, one, I helped someone I knew find a job and just connected her to someone that it was a good match. In another situation, I helped a woman that was having a hard time finding a place to rent, find a place to live. And I didn't do anything special. It wasn't me being a big old hero. I just thought of her and did something minimal. And it had a huge effect on them, right? And it felt good for me because you never know who you know or what you know that might support someone else. And if nothing else, talk well of people behind their back, build them up. It just juices up life a lot more.
I love that. Talk well about people behind their back. I love that. That's a great example of a little give. Costs nothing. Everything you just said costs nothing, but can really make an impact on those around you. So love that. Can you give the audience an example of a time in your life where somebody did something little for you, might have just been a little give on their end, but really made an impact on you and in your life?
Well, I was thinking back to when I was a new mom with my first son, because that's just, to me, is such an epic roller coaster, right? I was so overwhelmed and scared, like I didn't trust myself as a mom yet. Didn't have a big support system, no mom friends. My husband, he was working though, right? And I confided in a woman that I knew at the time. She wasn't even a bestie. She was just a nice woman in my circle, but I was struggling. And she just did something to her that came naturally, but it was just so good to me. She came and gathered up a bunch of her old baby stuff, and one of them was a baby swing. I needed a baby swing. I had a gassy baby, cried all the time, right? And she also picked me up a different day and took me to her house and cooked me dinner, right? I was too tired to drive, and we only had one car. My husband was working nights, so she took, for her, it wasn't, a super huge ordeal, but that just lifted my heart to have someone go out of their way who she didn't owe me anything. She wasn't family. She wasn't like my best friend that I hung out with all the time, but she was just a caring woman, also a mother who understood how hard it can be.
Oh, that's such a great example. Those little things really, really do add up. What about nonprofits? Are there any nonprofits that you're excited about?
So over the last year, I was working with Divorce Magazine Canada. So I was contributing articles and podcasts and such. And with my work, I do come across quite often where individuals, quite often women, have been affected by abuse, not only before a divorce, but during and after, so post-separation abuse. And I was talking with Dina, who founded Divorce Magazine, and asked her about what organizations are really supportive with this. So Divorce Coalition is one that she's been involved with. So I wanted to share one that would apply to North America, right? So this is Canada and the US, and they help to educate professionals about the systems and being more trauma aware, and hopefully getting to a place where the systems are not weaponized against victims of coercion, abuse, and control.
Wow, that's a wonderful nonprofit. I've never heard of this nonprofit before, and I always love it when a guest comes on and shares a nonprofit that we haven't seen before or has not been featured on our show. So thank you. What a beautiful nonprofit.
Yeah, I'm glad that it's coming together and that there's people coming behind this. I mean, change is slow. It takes time, but at least we can start taking some action and start educating professionals across North America about how we can do better with our systems.
Absolutely. Wow. You've shared so much insight today. Thank you so much for all of that. Why don't you tell the audience where they can find out more about you, get involved, maybe even seek out your services?
Yeah, so you'll see my website, my ramonakcoaching.com. And at some point you probably saw one that's more affiliated with just my work as a gentle trauma release practitioner. So that's under gentletraumacoach.com. You can also find me on the major socials, so Facebook, Instagram, Ramona K Coaching. And my email would have come up as well. So you're welcome to just send me an email. I'm happy to have a conversation or connect you. Maybe you need to be connected to someone that could support you. Maybe it's not me, but I like to be part of the village that people are building.
Thank you so much for sharing everything and all of your insight today. For everybody out there, she told you all the places to find her, reach out to seek out her services, get in touch, find out more about what she does. The work she's doing is incredible. If you were excited about that nonprofit, go visit that website, learn more, and go make a donation of $1 or $5 if you feel passionate about it. $1 or $5 multiplied by the many, many people we have watching this episode today really does make a huge impact to these nonprofits. So make that little give. Thank you so much, Ramona, for being on today and sharing all of your wisdom with us. And everybody out there who's watching, we'll see you all next week. If you enjoyed this episode of Little Give, head on over to our website at littlegive.com. You'll be able to find all the information about previous episodes and past guests that we've had on. If you or someone you know would like to be a guest on Little Give, all the information is also on the website. And if you have a nonprofit that you love and would like to recommend be on the show, all of that information is also on the website. We really appreciate you watching today, and we can't wait to see you again next week.